yang dikeluarkan, ayo maju ke depan di divisi yang depan. Ayo hitung sampai 3. 1, 2, ayo berdiri. Ayo divisi yang depan, acara akan segera dimulai. Kok nggak ada yang beranjak? Ada linknya tadi di sini. Ayo berdiri. Yuk, divisi yang depan, acara akan segera dimulai. Ayo ke belakang, maju ke depan. Dikasih tahu yang belum berangkat, suruh segera berangkat. Yang aktif suruh naik tangga.
Oh, gini berarti.
Oke, bawahnya loh.
Bawahnya
aman.
kami ini kami aman.
Aman bawahnya.
Ini di. Iki anu di bosok sendiri. Baru gaya mbak iki. Satu. Zoomin mana ngono ya? Oh, wis penuh ya iki. Oh, sisi paling
Aman Pak ini.
iya, wis paling apik ya.
Nggih, Jumat paling
Paling
aman.
Coba kalau beli kira-kira berapa ya? Enggak, aku coba ya. Enggak maksudnya kok kamu tenang budi ya? Kok tenang serta?
Kan kita Jumat dulu.
Oh iya. Oh, kalau atur ya. Ini kalau menit mau ganti balik. Ya sekiranya sejam ya.
Nggih.
Bisa kita kacul aman ya? Bisa belum ya?
Bisa Pak.
Juga ada tuh. Ini gitu. Koreans tuh tadi. Masih lama ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? Our opening ceremony is about to begin. Please have a nice seat and get to your position. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite you to deliver the welcoming speech. The first international conference of delegates Miss Ari Kusuma Devi, SDG MBD. Dear Miss Ari, the golden place is yours. but how to develop knowledge, especially levels and counseling. I hope that this conference will enable to all participants understand their opportunities in the field of entrepreneurship and become reliable counselor of the future. That is all for me, and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ms. Amit, especially as a head of your research. It is now my duty as the Judge Secretary of the Faculty of Education, Your Excellencies Professor Dr. Counselling, to deliver your speech, and afterward we will allow you to represent the Faculty of Education, Professor Dr. Counselling, FSC, officially open the first national conference in the Counseling. Dear Professor Dr. Counselling, we will do please experience.
Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Vice Dean, Professor Dr. the Honorable Head Department of Guidance and Counseling, Icgc, and Professor Dr. the Honorable Lecturer of Guidance and Counseling, Icgc, the Honorable Speaker, Dr. Asmawati Muhammad, Dr. Adi, selamat datang di Unesa Dokter. Semoga Dr. Adi segera sehat kembali. Dan Dr. Adi,
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Sorry, my voice lah, because I'm actually having COVID at the moment.
alhamdulillah. Insyaallah kami dari Indonesia tanggal 2 Juni akan ke Malaysia.
Okay, insyaAllah.
Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you, and a great honor for me to be here together. Thank you for inviting me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hold our head for a moment, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that our international friends can be present to all of us. I will that is very message on the teaching of Islam and this war are from to see. You are blessed to be according to the rest of your lives. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا محمد وسلم الله على اصحابه رسول الله اجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا شاكرين حمدا عالمين حمدا رافعا ومغفرا واسعا يا رب لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم. We give you glory for freedom nation and because we need it in our celebration for events and counseling. Ya Allah, Ya Jabbar, Ya Allah. Please this gathering will Muslim and good moment. Ya Allah, Ya Jabbar, Ya Allah. Inspire us to every day and effectively and we will place entrepreneur spirit in our counseling behavior. Ya Allah, we place our trust in you will as our Lord in conference and in our miracles. Allahumma yassir wa la tu'assir. Allahumma yassir ala sayyidina yassir wa ala khairin ibadihi wa min fadlika ala siwa muqaddara sallallahu alaihi من يعمل ما يوفق فإنه لا يصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع بركة العزيز والغفور الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين. حاجة وعجل حاجة وأقطع الفاتحة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much. Dear heavy audience, and then our main attendants, in addition to session our best speaker, there are Dr. Aswani Pramato from the University of Malaya as the first speaker, Dr. Evelina as the second speaker, and Ms. J.J. from the Director of Environment Resources as the third speaker. This agenda will be guided our great marathon, Maya Pramesi. Dear Maya Pramesi, the time is yours. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for all of the audience who are attending this first conference of Confrence and Counselling, Icgc 2023. My name is Maya Pramesti and I will be the moderator for these seminar sessions. These sessions contain three speakers from Mrs. Dr. Asmawati Muhammad. Assalamualaikum, Mrs. Aziz.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Clearly, you can hear your
Okay,
voice
great.
and hear clearly.
Okay.
The second is Mr. Dr. Eko Datika XP, that landing here in Odessa. And lastly is Mrs. James Neju. Good morning, Mrs. James.
Good morning. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi, Mrs. James. The evening Victoria, yes?
Yeah, good. Here is also good morning. Here is morning. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the first speaker, which is Dr. Asmawati Muhammad from University of Malaya. I would like to read Dr. Aziz Redovite. She has expertise in counseling and psychology, especially adolescent health and well-being, family, women, career, and crisis counseling. Currently, Ms. Aziz has become the head of department since October 2022 after from the COVID.
Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately that you can't come in for the event right now.
Yeah.
Okay, since we has already connected with Mrs. Aziz, I would like to remind Mrs. Aziz about the durations of presentations within 30 until 45 minutes, and
Okay.
the questions and answer sessions will be held in different locations after all the speakers has presented their material.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Aziz, you may start now from the material. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. But on my side, so I've actually requested on your side to play the presentation, yeah? Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you very much for the invite. Yang dihormati, yang dikasihi ya kepada Dean of Faculty of Education, Prof. Dr. Muhammad Nur Salim, sahabat lama saya ni, Bapak Salim saya panggil ya. Juga tak lupa kepada Deputy Dean of Academic Professor Dr. Budi Purwoko, your Head of Department, Head of Guidance and Counselling Program, Miss Evie Winningsi, and also Professor Dr. Najila Tunakiyah. So I've actually been liaising a lot with Dr. Evie. Thank you so much. I also would like to say thank you for inviting and also for listening to all the lecturers, members of the floor, my dear students who are here, and also not forgetting the speakers, Mrs. Jane and also Dr. Iko for being there. We plan to go down to UNESA, but something comes out and apparently we know what's the plan of Allah's plan. I actually was diagnosed with COVID, so I can't make it there. So yeah, without further ado, is it okay if you play my slides on the other side? Boleh? Mainkan slide saya? Boleh share screen? Enggak boleh ya? Kalau tak boleh, saya buatkan sebelah sini. Okay, boleh nampak tak slide saya? Can you see my slide? You can? Because I cannot see you.
Yeah, I can see slide.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Alrighty, thank you so much. So now let's talk about the development of counselling profession in Malaysia, the current post-pandemic threat. So as we all know, so that's me before I was sick, and now you can see my face is different because COVID tends to bloat your face and everything else. So anyway, so let's talk about the historical development of counselling profession in Malaysia. It actually begins in 1960, where we actually had the first inceptions and we realized the importance of educational needs of school students. So when we talked about educational needs of school students, this is when the government has actually played a very important role in instilling the requirements, the needs. They realize the importance of having counselling education in school. I remember when I was in fact younger, we do not have any, in terms of guidance. So this is when they realize the education needs of school students, they have actually put counsellors in schools. But more to it, they have actually consistently upgraded the services. And in terms of career development for the students, they are more prepared now compared to previously, where we do not have the assistance of, from the government. So what happened was, in terms of the career development, the school students now have more opportunities in terms of identifying where they want to be, what they want to become in the future. So again, I remember this was only instilled roughly in 1990s, where I was from the 1980 students, and we don't really get the opportunity to be able to, really be guided. So it's all about understanding what we want to do, and it's all about listening to what our forefathers or our parents want us to be. So very much influenced by our parents instead of our own interest, yeah? And again, as we move forward, you are seeing my whole slides here. So sorry about that. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so coming back to this, Now, the societal change, I think this is what's happening throughout the country in 1990s when we see the development of globalizations, you know, and we have actually experienced, I'm talking about Malaysia, and this is not only happening in Malaysia, but the whole, globally, where we face lots of issues, societal issues, social ills, where we can see this is happening and affecting the families especially, yeah. And when we talked about affecting the families, this in my area, we looked into the family related issues, marriage, and also adolescence. And we know that the societal change, where our children now, as you know, the family life cycle, this is one of the area where we see it's very challenging. And this is what's happening in Malaysia, where we face quite a number of societal issues relates to adolescence. And not only that, I'm going to talk about now the current trend, like what are the social ills that we are actually experiencing later. And as you all know, keeping up with global changes and counselling is really necessary. And one good news that I probably can share with everybody here, I'm just newly appointed. I just found out this morning, and I'm now as one of the Board of Counsellors, the members of Board of Counsellors. I just got to know the news this morning. So, and it's very important to also know and understand what is happening, keeping up with the global changes, and this is a trend, and I think that this is something that we look forward to improve, especially as members in the counselling. Yeah? Let me just bring you back to the historical development of counselling services in Malaysia. I know I've actually talked about this earlier, but let's just go back. In 1960s to 1970s, this is when it's marked by the introduction of school guidance and counselling services by the Ministry of Education, when they feel that the influence is very important, and we first learn from the United States of America. I do think that we all learn a lot from United States of America, but as the time changes, yeah, so we need to adjust, because you know that our country, Indonesia, Malaysia, we are the melting pot of cultures. And especially in Malaysia, we are actually made up predominantly of Malay Muslims, the Malays, the Indians, and the Chinese, and other ethnicity. So the expansion in 1980s and 1990s was actually very important, where the main focus was on personal and social counselling for various client groups. So this is when, in Malaysia, we realized the importance of counselling, albeit there is still what we call that as stereotyping or stigmatization, but counselling was slowly introduced. And at that point of time, probably it's difficult, for one to be able to go to counselling without having the ideas of mental disorder. But in 2000, we can see the current stage now that the main focus was on enhancing the professional identity of the counsellor itself, because we realized that if the competency of the counsellors are not upgraded or not, improvised, then it's difficult for them to be able to help the communities. Because as we all know, the globalization, the impact of globalization again, so we see a lot of societal issues. So the counsellors need to have certain competency levels, and the professional identities in 2000 onwards were the one that we focused on. Together with what I've said earlier, that we focused on the model in the United States, but we have to remember that our culture is entirely different. We can't actually look to the West most of the time. We need to adjust to our needs, to our current needs. So what we do is we also need to do lots of practices in terms of research, empirical evidence to improve on it, to come out with a more sound professional competency, and also the ethics that has to be followed by all our counsellors. And stage 4, the way forward. This actually involved a more challenging and and rather opportunities in Malaysia. So, but before that, I would like to bring back to stage 3 again, without forgetting, LKM were also established and, to assist the counsellors, and it's actually the governed body to take care of the counsellors' well-being. Whereas PERCAMA is actually the Malaysian Counselling Association that also helps together with Lembaga Counselling Malaysia, together with LKM, to assist in the competency level of our counsellors. Now, coming back to the 4th quadrant, the stage 4, that is the way forward. What do we need to do? In Malaysia, we realize that the only way to move forward is to involve further, to take more studies to identify what are the current, boundaries that stops us from moving forward. So one of the ways to address this is the multicultural issues, because we cannot actually take one model and apply to all. For example, even among the Malays, the culture is different among the Malays. For example, you have your own cultural values in your family, and I do have mine, slightly different. So it depends. So the ever-changing dynamic among family, the multi-faith issues, the integrity, what I'm trying to say, the integration of multimodal approaches, that you have your current approaches, the Islamic, maybe spiritual approaches, and you have to also sometimes include still the model that we applied from US, but again, more should come from evidence-based practices and advanced research. So that's why in Malaysia, and we welcome when Bapak Nur Salim and team was came to Malaysia, and we are actually in the midst of signing up the MOU. We welcome the publications and research work, the collaborations between the two universities and different countries, because we want to learn more. So I think what is good, we could actually replicate. So this is something that's very interesting. So, and the future outlook of the counselling development in Malaysia basically focuses mainly on multicultural perspective. And on top of that, I also wanted to mention about the indigenous approaches to counselling in Malaysia. I'm going to share with you on my next slide. Okay, so what is this? This is actually the indigenous approaches to counselling in Malaysia. Like I said, we are predominantly made up of these 3 main approaches. That is the Malay Muslims, Islamic counselling, the Chinese cultural counselling, and the Indian counselling in Malaysia. So, but before I go into the current trend, I need to explain a little bit about how we function in Malaysia. So interestingly, when we talk about the Islamic approaches, this is a counselling approach that is based on the principles and teachings of Islam. So we do apply the Quran, the Sunnah, but like I said before, we do apply the Islamic counselling, where we emphasizes the role of spirituality, morality, the faith and submission to God. We also need to understand what are the challenges and what are the barriers that's stopping them from moving forward. So I'm not saying that when it comes to Malays, we straight away use the Islamic counselling, no. But these are predominantly the 3 main approaches that were used, that are still used currently in Malaysia, okay? And it's also very important to look into the Chinese cultural counselling, because you see, not only the language barrier, but if you fail to understand the approaches to how we see other races, so then you fail to become a good counsellor. So the development, the identity of a counsellor in terms of upgrading your competency skills is actually very important. Myself, I'm actually married to Chinese, I can say that, but there are still some areas that I don't understand, okay? So I still need to learn about what Chinese cultural counselling is, and in my family is very much, multicultural. We have Indians, we have I don't have Africans yet, but we do have friends from US, so we are very much diversified culturally. But yet, there are certain areas that I probably need to upgrade in terms of my understanding. So when we come to talk about Chinese cultural counselling, it's very interesting because in Malaysia, they incorporate probably different concepts of Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, and other Chinese philosophies. And it's also very important to understand the influence of all this that you've learned in the family and the social harmony. And you could see that the Chinese in Malaysia before compared to the ones now, when it comes to, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah? This is what I observe from my own family members, that they, touching, the power of touch that we believe in counselling, it's different for them. So, but for now, the current generations is different. They do believe in the power of touch. Hugging is okay now compared to those in the 1960s, in the 1970s. Now, the third culture is the Indian cultural counselling. This is also a counselling approach that is based on the cultural values and practices amongst the Indian community in Malaysia. So the focus is on Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and other Indian religions. So again, they believe in different things, like they believe in caste, maybe not now, I'm not too sure about that, but that is something that we could actually, understand further. They believe in karma, they believe in reincarnation, and dharma. Dharma means duty. So these are some of the indigenous approaches in counselling in Malaysia that have been developed and adapted by the local counsellors and researchers. Yeah? And we are still using it, but we adapt accordingly. So again, coming back to Lembaga Counsellor Malaysia or Board of Counsellors, they have actually come out with the Counsellor Act 1998, Act 580. Their task is to ensure that all the professionalism of a counsellor is being maintained and upheld to the highest standard. So what do? They have to supervise. I think you can read on your own, but basically what they do is supervise the provision of counselling services. And what they actually do is to also, when we talk about supervision, they also regulate in terms of training. This is very important to ensure that our counsellors always uphold the professional ethics, and especially in terms of integrity. When I talk about integrity, this is something that we have to give, a focus on. Why do I say that? Because, for example, the fees that have been charged, there are certain fees within the limitations that the Board of Counsellors actually regulate. And not only that, they have to make sure that at all times our client is safe. We have a case recently where one of the counsellors, I'm just going to share with you, this is trainee counsellors, they are not yet registered counsellors, because this is the body who actually, interview the counsellors to be, and they will make sure, they will actually give the license once they have actually, they will register the qualified counsellors once they have actually achieved certain requirements. So what happened recently was when one of our trainee counsellors, when I found out, so it was sent to one of the hospital, and it actually caused more harm. So the hospital actually contacted the trainee from one of the universities, and the universities were actually informed that these students need to quit because it's actually causing harm. So this is what the Counselor Act help to regulate, because you always have to remember at all times counseling. Now people say counseling is the time where you make money. This is the time when, COVID-19 is all about making money. No, it's not about that, but it's more about what you want to do. Basically, it's about helping. That is why we called it a helping profession. Money making or training is a different agenda. But we took oath to make sure that the first three things that we need to do is to have empathy, and unconditional positive regards at all time, and to be genuine or genuine. Okay, so these are the three main things that all counselors, I think, it should be, the entire world should uphold. Is these three characteristics that we need to uphold. And one of the things that I think our board of counselors actually do, and I think it's very important, is to regulate the conduct of the counselling profession, including establishing a code of ethics, for the counselling profession to uphold. I'm sure you know about dual relationships, which we can't have with our client after certain years, after certain years, probably maximum about 2 years. So there are things that you can't do. There are things that you have to follow and abide by the rules set by the Counsellors Act and the Code of Ethics. Okay, so now let's move on. When we talk about perceptions towards counselling profession in Malaysia, I'm not sure about what is the perceptions of counselling profession in Indonesia or probably worldwide, but perhaps in the United States, we know that counselling profession is now being accepted. It's like 1 in 3. So 1 counsellor and 3 clients. But in Malaysia, we still have 1 counsellor to 1,000 maybe? 1,000? Previously, we had 1 to 3,000 and now probably has been reduced, So it's very important to know that a perception towards counselling profession in Malaysia was negative previously, and it's still an emerging profession in Malaysia. When I talk about negative perception, what I meant really is when you go and visit a counsellor, so people will assume usually that, hey, you have mental disorder, mental disorder. People out there, they are not well versed with the with the terminology of what is mental health and mental disorder. So when you go and see a counselor, so this is when they straight away have this stigma. Kalau saya jumpa counselor, habislah saya, means I am orang gila. That's the term we use here in Malaysia, I'm a crazy kind of a person. I'm a mad person. So you are actually being stigmatized. I'm not referring to you, but the people out there, they are usually being stigmatized. So counselling in Malaysia was previously feared by many due to the stigmatization experienced by those seeking help. Some people may think that when you go and visit a counsellor, mental illness, signs of weaknesses is your weakness, because you can't handle your own issues, So we are not allowed as Asians, I'm sure we all know that, we are not allowed to show our vulnerabilities. What is vulnerabilities? Maksudnya kelemahan kita. Kita tidak boleh tunjukkan kepada orang bahawa kita ini lemah. Kita kena sentiasa kuat. So I think this is one thing that we need to to stop, to tell people that, hey, it's okay. But now, so what happened was, as a consequence, people felt judged by others. But now, it has taken a change, a slight change. We can see that. So it has taken a positive turn now, When during COVID-19, we know that it has actually, helped people to be positive, to feel that counselling actually helps. So I'm going to talk about the benefits in a bit, So they realize the benefits of counselling now. Now, let's talk about pandemic COVID-19. If you Google my name, I've actually write a lot on the COVID pandemic. I'm so sorry. Okay, COVID pandemic and the restrictions and the outcome of what it is really. So the COVID-19 pandemic, it has affected all of us in 2020. Started from Wuhan, we all know that. It was actually announced as a pandemic 11th February 2020. And when we first heard about COVID-19, I'm sure most of us panicked because we don't know what COVID-19 is all about. We panicked. We all knew that it was just a virus, and this virus is invisible. Maksudnya kita tidak nampak virus ini, tetapi virus ini membunuh. At that point of time, the virus kills. And we found out that it has killed millions of people. To this date, maybe I've just read what WHO, I'm not sure, but it says about 7 million. I'm not sure whether that was the current need. Yeah, people across the world. And I'm sure Indonesia, Malaysia, Korea, we are not exempted from experiencing this COVID-19. And today, I'm actually diagnosed with COVID-19, my second day, and I'm trying to sit here on this chair, trying my level best. Okay, and this COVID this time around, I would say that it's not as bad as the previous one that I've actually experienced. But still, COVID-19 is still around. So what happens the first round, the first 2 years? We were all worried and we had these restrictions imposed in Malaysia, which we call MCO. MCO ialah Movement Control Order. You can see on the slide, the phase 1, it's actually a strict lockdown. So what happened in the first phase? Everybody panicked. Everybody was actually worried. Everybody was stressed because they don't know what to expect. And what we've heard on TV, what we've heard on radio is about people dying. And it's our family members. It's my friends. One of my friends lost 6 members within 2 weeks of the family, and she was diagnosed with COVID-19 Delta, and surprisingly and Alhamdulillah, she was okay. But you could see the consequences. She's grieving. She lost her father, she lost her mother. She first lost her brother, then her mother, then the father gave up because the father said there's no point living anymore. So, and then the 2 aunties, okay, ada 4, 2, 4, 5, dan seorang lagi, another auntie recently. 6 of them passed on, and she herself go through COVID-19 Delta. Fortunately, I don't know whether it's fortunate or what, God sent, but she contacted me. So as a counselor, we can't have a dual relationship. She's my best friend. I can't really do counseling because I was really biased, but I actually employed the skills that I've learned, I told her to stay calm, to look forward to the families that's waiting for her family. So you see, at this phase, it was a very strict lockdown, and there are cases where the old people, when they were, to live alone, our parents maybe, where they don't, where they stay on their own, and they cannot go out, and they're very vulnerable. So in Malaysia, only 2 people per household can go out for necessities. In my family, I was the one who went out. Because probably, I was worried that my family members, we had, issues with asthma. So I said, never mind, I'll just go. So phase 2, only 3 people could go out, but then it was still very strict, but within 10-kilometer radius. And people were very scared too, because they don't know what to expect. In phase 3, phase 3 is a recovery phase. You can go out up to 6 people within a 10-kilometer radius. And finally now, there's no limit, and we are now in the endemic phase. And when we have the endemic phase, let me talk about it in a bit. So now, the impact that COVID-19 have, I'm sure you know, Indonesia, Korea, I think we experience the same thing. The impact is on the politics, and we have experienced the political, I'm not going to go and discuss on politics, but we have seen the political impact that it has on us Malaysians, pertukaran government, the change of government, and it impacted on the market economy. A lot of people lost their jobs. This is when counselling came in, This is when we came in. This is when we had the telehealth, the e-counseling, the online counseling. Personally, let me tell you, I am not well versed with Zoom. I'm not well versed with Google Meet, but I have to adjust. Adjustments were the main issue then, when a lot of us do not know how to adjust. Okay, so when we try to change, because change is inevitable. Change is the only thing that is constant, but it's so difficult for all of us to change. So when we experience change, kita jadi gusar, kita jadi takut, ada fear. The market, the economic, the impact that we have on us, lots of us were unfortunate, they were asked to leave their jobs. You could see the airline industries, a lot of our economy were affected. And the social relationships that we have with people. We are all social creatures, right? We are all social creatures. But we forgot that, during pandemic that, we still have to talk, but we were all confined to our own space. We do not go out. We forgot that this gadget, our phone, is to be used to contact each other, but instead we read too much of what COVID-19 is all about, and we became more nervous. So, and the children, those children who are staying in a small apartment maybe, or probably we call it flat, rumah yang kecil itu, and they don't have space to play. And we see a lot of issues, especially in terms of, relationships that a family had. This is when the numbers of penderaan or abuse cases were on the rise, especially impacted women. Okay, and next, the education. Not forgetting the young ones. We always tend to forget about the young ones. The young ones were also faced with difficulties. They are trying to adjust. The online education took a toll on our country because we do not have access, especially in the rural areas. Access to internet is really critical. I remember one of my students in Sabah, she told me that, Dr. Aziz, the only place that I can receive internet is in the hutan at the back, in the forest at the back of her house, and the father has to build a run. What is a run? A run is actually a place on top of the tree. We called it a tree house. But the father has to build a tree house. And then one day she called me, Dr. Aziz, I'm sorry, I cannot join your class because it looks like it's going to be reboot di situ, okay? So I told her, go back, safety first. So you see, online education take a toll on our country, and the impact is on our mental health. So counselling comes in. Our profession now is highly required and highly needed, and especially in Malaysia, we need more counsellors to assist in people that have gone through the impact of COVID-19. Believe me that the long COVID impact has actually created a necessary need, for all of us to help the people out there. Yeah? Okay, so moving on. The eye-opener, the realization of the importance of counselling. Like I said, COVID-19 was the eye-opener. In a way, we're actually very thankful because this is when we realize the importance of having online counselling or telehealth counselling. Why do I say this? Because I joined one of the telehealth, is called Talian Kasih. Talian Kasih is actually all the counsellors, only registered counsellor with Lembaga Counsellor Malaysia. In Malaysia, if you're not registered with Lembaga Counsellor, you are not considered a counsellor in the sense that you need to be licensed, okay? So I joined the Talian Kasih, and this is when I helped quite a number of people from home, based from home, and I realized that, hey, this is the importance of having a telehealth counselling because we help those who are suffering. Do you know that I said a lot of women were actually impacted? You can Google my name. We actually did studies on the most impacted, the most population impacted, and was the women. And I do realize that here, when I was on online, on the telehealth counselling, Talian Kasih, I realized that, oh no, even the men were actually affected. I received calls at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because they are too ashamed to call me during the daytime because we have shifts. Okay, we have shifts. For example, I work 7 to 7 p.m. and the next day 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So when we receive calls, we have to answer. It's actually being manned by the Lembaga Counsellor, our Ministry of Women. Okay, so I realized that all of us are actually impacted, and it was a little bit, I was taken aback because it was my first experience assisting men that was actually bullied or abused by the women, by the wives. And at first I find it, wow, this is something new because it's my first experience. But it was actually an opportunity for all of us to realize that anything happens, you know, and it's not just among women or children or the older generations, but in men too. Okay, so there is no such thing as you stopping yourself from exploring, from giving a chance to yourself to seek help. Okay, and telehealth counselling actually it helps actually counselling in general helps to provide the support that all the people need. So what we do in University of Malaya, I'm going to talk to you later, but we did mental health advocates, and most of my students, you can see those background with University of Malaya's Malaya background, those are my students, they are the mental health advocates. And we are definitely going to UNESA, inshallah, in September. So what we do, we provide support and validation. You see, most of us did not realize that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay even you are male. It's okay if you want to cry, because once you have actually cried, your eyes sparkle. It's beautiful. It's like the song by Rihanna. My student have already warned me, Dr. Aziz, you better don't sing today. I'm not going to sing. But it's like shine bright like a diamond. The eyes will sparkle. So give your yourself a chance. Validate that feeling. There's nothing wrong with validation. Assist. What we do is we assist in challenging the self-defeating behavior or habits. So if you kept thinking, you know, like I said, it's okay to feel negative certain ways, but if it's too long, so counselors will help you to negate ataupun to get out from that negative behaviors into something more positive. Okay, and this will actually helps you to enhance your self-esteem and to really understand yourself, accept who you are, but always believe that I can make a change in this world. It is not just about having a negative feeling and stuck there. We are not like, you know, once you travel and stuck there. No, we move forward, we bounce back, and that's called resilience. So what we need to do is to guide our people and find purpose in life, like what we learned in existentialism, okay, finding meaningfulness in life. All right, so we also allow, it helps people to express and manage emotions well. What we need to guide most of the people out there is how do you manage your emotions. Yeah, managing emotions is very critical. And two last step is to provide a safe outlet. Like I said, if you want to cry, you cry, and manage your emotions and get back on track. But most importantly, to always hold on to the hope, to always hold on to that motivation and tell yourself that, hey, I want to make a change. Now, just hold on, allow me to have some drink. Thank you. These are some of the common cases that we are actually experiencing in Malaysia. Like I said, you can probably read what I've wrote here, but the common cases now, yeah, and I think this is something that we could probably look into collaborations. I've been asked to talk about a lot of this dark side phenomenon in Malaysia. Have you heard of dark side? What dark side is, it's like, you know, the adolescents, our young ones, and not only that, it's not limited to just the young ones, but to our, you know, even in a family where they, you know, they join this dark web or whatever they call it. It's like the dark side group, and it's commonly shared on Twitter. Okay, and what they do is they posted their naked photos, and they started exchanging sexual gestures, gestures kind of, you know, like free sex and all that. So this is what is happening in Malaysia right now, and this is something common. And I'm actually writing about this and I've been asked to share about this on social media, the TV, and also newspaper. This is something that I'm not sure if this is also happening in Indonesia, but something that we could look into. Is this what we call e-prostitution? If this is not, taken care of, if the government, but in Malaysia we are doing something about it, but this have to be taken seriously, because otherwise, what is going to happen to the moral of our young ones? That is going to be our future leaders in the future. So we counselors, we need to do something about it. All right. So this is the dark side phenomenon, and LGBTQ plus also is widely happening in Malaysia. Okay, I'm not gonna explain further because I know I've only got another 5 minutes. But I'm gonna ask you this question: what can be done? What can we do as future counselors? Maybe like my students are all here. This is what we do in University of Malaya. I realize that we have done quite a bit for the community. So what we need to do now is for our students. For I believe that when we start from within our own family, that is with my university, and then we spread that positive vibes to the others, then it could spread into something better. So my mental health advocates, they are all here. So what we want to do is to basically tell the members of the University of Malaya, for then they could go back and tell their families and their friends. So but we started in, because I started from outside, but then I realized I have to start from UM again. So what you need to do is to let people understand what mental health is, as opposed to mental disorder. Because once they understand mental health, it's all about your functioning, it's all about cognitive, how you think, and it will affect how you feel, and it will be translated into your behavior. So we need to inform people what this is all about, and if it's affecting your functioning, validate that feeling. It's okay. Mental disorder is another ball game. But then, we also need them to go through a screening tool to see where they are. This is when we use DAS-21. We want to see where they are, their stature, their status, in the sense of whether they are severely anxious, severely stressed, extremely depressed. So we could actually give them guidance accordingly to what they need. We want to psychoeducate them to create the awareness to be able to seek help. What we want to do is to create the environment that, hey, it is safe. Hey, it is okay to seek help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. My mental health advocates have been doing well. We have been doing this since last year. So this is our second year, promoting, advocating among students, among our members of the academics, and also the supporting staff and the staff themselves. So we want to have a community that is literate about what mental health is all about. And we want to pop that stigma. We want to make sure that the stigma is no longer there, because it's okay to feel not okay. Yeah? So before I end, I just want to share, just because no one else can heal or do your inner work for you doesn't mean you can, should or need to do it alone. Seek help. Okay, and one of the things that I've read on, the recent reading on World Health Organization, when Dr. Tedros shared that without mental health, without a good mental health, we are not going to gain any wealth. And productivity, we have lost, worldwide 12 trillion of in terms of economic costs. So with that, I end my talk today. Thank you so much to the dear moderator.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about my voice.
I would like to give
thank you. But is it okay if I interject a little bit? I just like to correct about the LGBTQ plus. That is something that is been going on, not just due to the pandemic, but in terms of the competency level of the professional counselors, is something that we need to upgrade to help them. Because we are not able to assist this group, yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aziz. Let's proceed to the second speakers from our department in Guidance and Counseling Indonesia. Please welcome Mr. Ego Darwito, MSc, to the stage.
Thank you for the
Thank you so much. As we all know, this is Mr. Ego Darwito, MSc.
Okay. My college lecturer, Guardian and Department of Education Faculty, Universitas Indonesia Surabaya, I respect. And of course, my student, and of our seminar participant in seminar whom I appreciate. Dear Dr. Astronomy Muhammad Nur, why
It's fine meeting you, Alhamdulillah.
Good morning, all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I'm very pleased. I'm so big pleased about this. Do you understand what I say? Okay? The student committee asked me to speak on counseling professional in Indonesia, but because I had not many information about counseling in Tamil initially, so I will explore counseling in the school setting. Actually, I'm not proficient speaking in English, so I think the seminar committee has made this when asked me to be a speaker in seminar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in my presentation. I will speak in counseling professional and school setting in Indonesia. I divide my people on 4 parts. Okay, before I start my presentation, I will two speakers, one speaker preceded me, has spoken to a facility in different format. I will
Second class, counseling, professional development. And third class, how counseling is practiced by guided teacher, counselor, and school setting. And finally, issues in counseling practice. Okay, let me begin in first part, conceptualization. Okay, next. Conceptually, we follow the definition counseling in development, especially in USA, that's stated by Counseling Organization in USA, example APA, Social Psychological APA, captivated. And tell me what the meaning of APA. It is psychological association, psychological of medical. And the definition includes the National Conference of State Legislatures and Medical Counseling Association and the American Counseling Association Governing Council. In 1946, this is the only definition of APA. What is counseling? Counseling is process assist individual in the threat to the achievement of optimal growth and improvement from the personal resources. Okay, next. This is the words of counseling. The resolution from National Conference of State Legislatures and Medical Council Association in 1990. Counseling is process in which the trained professional with the trusted relation with the person who need assistance. This relationship forces a personal meaning of experience, feeling, behavior, alternative, consequences, and goal. You see this trained professional. So, the counseling cannot be done by just anyone. The counseling must be done by a professional, that is the individual that train in theory and that train and equip in theory and practice of counseling. Next. Okay. The part depend on many others or some definition. We synthesis and definition. We counseling is a process of assistance provided by trained and authorized professional to individuals or group to solve the difficulties of problem through special design situation that contain psychological dimension. Next, this conceptualization of counseling which we use in practice of counseling mediation, but it relatively in operational. Operationally, especially in school setting, we practice counseling by following the definition given by counseling professional organization in Indonesia and by government regulation in education. We currently use the latest regulation, that is regulation number 111 of 2020. In this regulation, it is that guidance and counseling use a development approach that includes component, guidance curriculum, individual learning, service, responsive service, and system support. You can see this is the approach that used by professors in the other country, especially in USA. So we know using the golden approach in implementing guidance and counseling in sectors, the school setting. Maybe you familiar that it means developmentally comprehensive guidance and counseling. Okay, so counseling is one. In this definition, counseling is one of responsive service. That's accurately and frequently in nature. And as responsive service, it is given only to those who already have problem. So, in this approach, counseling no longer be perfectly service that currently or remedial. If you want to prevent your student for problem, you can use the other service that is guiding. Okay, next. In this regulation, next. In this regulation, in government regulation number 111, 2050, counseling is the one of component responsive service. Preventively, counseling uses the traditional model start from 1977 up to 2013. In this model, counseling is one technique of guiding. Out of the counseling, there are other techniques, selain giving information, discovery, data gathering, and guiding itself. Okay, next. This is the position of counseling in the education system, as revealed by government regulation. So, counseling is one part of guiding and counseling in school setting. And guiding and school, guiding and counseling itself, a big part integral of education system at home. But three components working together to achieve goal of education. So, function works. Three components function works together to implement an education program led by a principal and to encourage optimal development of learners on personal, social, academic, and career. Next, this is second part for my presentation. Development of counseling profession in Indonesia. Counseling started from 1960. This year, ideal implementation of counseling is image. Then in 1964, a son of teacher guide established a counseling established a program of Department of Guidance and Counseling in order to train and educate prospective counselor to realize the ideal implementation of counseling education. This initiated on 1960. Then in 1975, guidance and counseling education formally implemented, but in limited school. In 1975, guidance and counseling formally implemented in public school, that is in junior and senior high school. And in 1976, guidance and counseling formally implemented vocational school, but in limited. In 1969, the Indonesian government increased recognition the existence of guidance and counseling in school setting. Its government updated the regulation guidance counseling listed signed in 1989. Existence of guidance and counseling in discipline established. This is evident when the government issued a regulation and education. The guidance and counseling is includes and especially in curriculum. As you know, currently or today, guidance and counseling include kurikulum Merdeka Belajar. What the English kurikulum Merdeka Belajar? Independent learning kurikulum. Next. Okay. Next. 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 Yes, next. Okay, current status. Currently, guidance and counseling have been implemented in almost all schools in Indonesia, from private to higher education, even in university and university. Even many counselors who initially are never in education institution, now they also provided private counseling service to the wider community. Of course, after obtaining recently to practice from authorities, that is the professional organization that hosted. We have big organization and counseling that is Indonesia Guardian and Counseling Association. Okay, next. This is big organization of Guardian and Counseling in Indonesia. Indonesian Guardian and Counseling Association. And this is the division. Though there are some division in our organization, that is Evaluation Council Association, Evaluation Guardian Teacher Association, Evaluation Counseling Scholar Association, Evaluation Counseling Guardian Instrumentation Association, Parent Guardian and Counseling Association, School Guardian and Counseling Association, Association Industry Organization Council, and Indonesian Association of Education of Counseling Supervision. Okay, this is of ENTREPRENEUR from our big organization in professional guardian and counseling profession. Okay, next. How counseling is practiced? An education program. We, lecturer of the Department of Guidance and Counseling in Indonesia, generally teach and train counseling method from various perspectives and theoretic orientation. As far as the counseling literature. However, educator is carrying counseling students for many theoretical preferences in future practice, and instead it bases the important of choosing counseling methods that are relevant to the client problem and characteristic. Yes, there are no single appropriate, and there are no single theory, single method, and technique which is appropriate for all individual with problem. We must choose the methods that properly, that appropriate for individual according their problem and characteristic. Okay, next. This I showed to you about how the academy is educated the prospective counselor and how the counselor practice the counseling in second school setting. In academy, we teach the prospective counselor with some methods like psychodynamics, but limited humanistic approach. This includes Gestalt, existential, and Hegelian. In perspective behavior, we teach reality behavior, and then CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, and postmodern. There are two theories which to my student, that is SFPD and narrative counseling. Solution focus based therapy and narrative counseling. Counseling, we teach our student to practice counseling with format individual and group. In practice, as we found in the field, in the school setting, counseling practiced by individual and group formats by counselor and guidance teacher in the school setting. The current method with they use generally, this is the methods some say by counselor and guidance teacher, that is behavior, reality, GBT, SBT, and analysis, hypnotherapy, but in fit to in counseling profession development. Issues in the counseling profession. Okay, next. There are certain issues which I found, of course, it limit my field. That is professional integration of technology in counseling, cultural society support, volunteers, counseling as a key tool and church. Next. First item, professional. Counseling is practiced by unqualified teachers. Okay. Although the existence of divided education in school can be said to be well established, in some schools you can find unqualified guiding teachers. Yet this subject teachers who have not required educate training in theory and practice of counseling. Okay. In Indonesia, exclusively, school has not filled in some the need of counselor, so some of principal point to the teacher be assigned to implement counseling. Wait, next. There is a guiding teacher as trained in theory and practice in implementing counseling. Yes, I am a subject teacher who is teaching counseling. And this, I am a Confrence student. Okay, next. There are practice by some counselor, some guiding teachers. Also, giving counseling to the student in unprofessionally. So, in addition to counseling practice by a qualified professional, there are also a number of counselors who are qualified, counselors who are qualified, but they counseling in an unprofessional, uncountable, and unsubstantiated way. They conduct counseling by not being preceded by in-depth assessment of the problem, not setting rules clearly and the time frame, and using method and training. Semena-mena. But in Indonesia, this is semena-mena. Advanced that medical counselors only give advice when they do counseling at first and force client to do what they are practice. Of course, in counseling there is practice, but in counseling, at least is not was to the client to do something that counselor taught. In the counseling, at least meaning give the big information to the client in order to have the client give the big information using time to make an accurate decision in order solve the problem, yeah, or another solve the difficulties. Okay? No. With the communication, with counselor, with giving advice to the client, as not preceded by assessment. In other words, counselor does counseling in prematurely. Okay, next. We can call the lazy counselors. Based on observation on counseling in a number of schools and a student in counseling professional education program, and thus far many counselors stop on moral study and relevant teaching. Their knowledge and skill do not seem to progress after graduating from undergraduate level in counseling university. That they look like people who were sleeping alone. Ya, kita dapat melihat mereka seperti orang sedang tidur panjang. Do not update and uplift their knowledge and skills, and let respect for the progress and change of knowledge, especially technological advance. Okay, next. This indicates a lazy counselor, a slave and a sleep long. As a student, to be a success counselor, you must learn, and learn. Let's stop to learn. Please stop to learn. Go. You must learn in every day and time, long life. Okay, next. Second issue, counseling very technically. Starting from the millennial age and continuing to dominate in the era of the industrial revolution. For example, we currently live in which that experience very rapid advance in information technology and engineering regardless of negative impact. Of course, advanced and technology have negative impact to our life. Everyone can take advantage of technology and to improve the business and including counseling service. I mean, we must use the advance of technology and practice in our counseling. Counselor must change and adapt the counseling practice by utilizing technology advance. Creatively and rapidly, they must adapt and integrate technology advanced equipment into the counseling practice. as examples, conducting assessment, interview, and remote counseling. I mean, distant counseling, counseling by technology when using equipment and advanced technology. Including various types of social media platforms. We can use an email and other social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other. Not many counselors use technology in counseling. Maybe this is because they still stuck technology. What is stuck? What's the biggest stuck? Stuck in technology. Gagap technology. Or with regard to counseling activity. Today, there is still a debate regarding whether or not counseling should be done formally by face-to-face contact, or it can be done through communication media and technology equipment. There are some scientists in counseling profession that impose with counseling must be happen as formal sequence. Okay, next. This indicates the counselor using equipment technology in practice. This directly service and this image counseling with technology, with integration technology into practice of counseling. As long as counseling can be done by remote or distant counseling jarak jauh. Next, the ICGC, multicultural and indigenous counseling. The theory, you can call theory in psychology, that culture can improve on our behavior. Behavior issues are influenced by culture and are various forms of spatial habits that are indigenous. Spatial habits that are indigenous. Kebiasaan-kebiasaan di setiap suku. That is the theory. The way the counselor interacts with the client and assess the client problem must take into account the client culture and agent background. First, in Indonesia, you know, Indonesia contains a population that has diverse ethnicities, race, and cultures. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. However, it was found that many counselors were less sensitive to cultural diversity issues. There are also many local culture. There are also many local culture too that are unique and have a great influence on behavior, but have not been widely studied still media counseling technique. discussion, what we think, what is the solution, how to raise tensions of culture in society and counselors and domestic counseling. Next, this image illustration about understanding culture in Indonesia. Our things. What is literally in English? Cycle. On the cycle is measured. And indeed, cycle that's described. There are many deep society and culture. This is individual behavior. So behavior influenced by culture. And outer cycle is Asian culture. This is local culture and behavior. Next, I show Sister Super. Ideally, counseling in school is cheaper. However, there is a lack of adequate support for teachers, principal, and parents. It was therefore that few teachers did not immediately refer students who had difficulties to the counselor and were reluctant to carry out follow-up activities decided by the counselor. Some parents are reluctant to talk about the children problem. Many school principals do not provide adequate facilities and infrastructure for good counseling practice. Next. As 5, student volunteers. Ideally, client is open to discussing this or other problems in counseling. And this will be happen if the client voluntarily comes to the counselor asking for help. In fact, many students are reluctant to see a counselor where they have difficulties that they cannot solve on their own and resistant to being actively involved in the counseling process. Many clients come to the counselor who is at the request of personal party by teachers, by workers, or by principals, or by their parents, not on a volunteer basis. Do you understand what I see? If you have a question, please you ask after I have finished my presentation. But maybe I don't get clear what you question because actually I have trouble with my hearing function. You know? Oh yes. There is a projector that can help me. Okay, next. As it says, said that guiding and counseling become part of the curriculum or curriculum-based guidance and counseling and conselling are curriculum-based. Guiding and counseling is implemented to support the curriculum in order to achieve the objective and ensure pada gilirannya increase opportunities on chance for achieving educational or learning goals. In general, guidance and counseling function of guidance and counseling is help to school in order to design teaching program to foster optimally development in its student. Okay, next. Kurikulum Merdeka Belajar. Currently, today, the Indonesian government is implementing a new curriculum called the Merdeka Belajar Curriculum. Curriculum learning independent. Yes, curriculum learning independent in the English language. In the curriculum, there is a program to build profile of Pancasila student. In Indonesia, as you know, Pancasila be a what in English? Pancasila is like a humanity. Pancasila is
way of life.
a life.
Way of life.
Yes.
Way of life, Bapak. As a way of life.
Pancasila is a way of life for Indonesia. You know Pancasila? Okay. This program is equivalent to the character which include the following six characters. The hit and next. The hit in respect with and not in good moral. Global society and especially appreciating the diversity of diverse cultures. Collaboration, idea, all of the is family with diligence, working together in team. Creative and critical towards yet with idea you don't do. Able to make decisions critically and reading it critical, and finally self-sufficient or control. When this individual can meet one's needs. Yes. That is seven character. We must build for students. Okay, next. This is the relevancy of Pancasila student profile to each for use case in 21st century. Maybe you have been in many initiatives. There are use cases which mastered by all of individual intelligence. That is creative and innovative thinking, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. Actually, this core new skill is a new skill. Okay. Next, this is rational for grading for student evaluation. Coordination of object and spots. There are many problems which observed in a student. In this foundation of youth, in this visualized behavior, there was made use of innovation energies. Yes. Maybe you and you in this was made use of innovation energies. The development of defiant behavior comparison, popular version in today is addiction. Action to game and action to drug. Yes. Tendency to adopt the value of courage, conscious. You show that community keep on and know banyak orang kacau dengan putri. The weakening of idealism, patriotism, and breeding of national spirit. In this pragmatism and idealism, it is indifferent to religious. Okay? I think my time is over. Hello? Okay. Next slide again. Challenge. More and children and families are especially difficult. Counseling is needed in my hypothesis. In my deduction, counseling is needed if there are people who have a problem or are experiencing difficult and ask for help. It can always be for individuals who have problem or are experiencing difficulties and the tendency and implicit over time. Generally, implicit problems are rooted in individual failures to adapt to the rapid progress of the times produced by technology and engineering advancements. This is highly negative impact for advanced technology. Okay. Next. This is some problem as a negative impact from technology, addiction and abuse of the internet, smartphone, social media, addiction to the internet and smartphone or social media. Next, this addiction to drug abuse. Next, yes. You saw there are different prevalency on this matter. On drug abuse in village and city. You see, the trend is increase. This concept start from 2019 up to 2021. And found the drug abuse among the village student more high than student in city. Question is, what caused it? Okay, next. Suggestion for me, for you, my student, and respective counselor. If you hope to counsel success counselor, make sure you share this suggestion. All of you who are attending this meeting, of course, a counselor. Guided teachers and prospective counselor, your prospective counselor, ideally you have considered well the nature of guidance and counseling works. When is that provide help service to people in need of help because they are experiencing problem or difficulties that they cannot solve on their own. Yes, you must provide that service. In order for you to carry on work successfully, there is something that you need to solve in. Yeah. You should feel confident that the many professionals exist in society. You feel the counseling profession is the most suitable for you. Are these the right for you? That among the many professions that exist in society, you feel the counseling profession is the most suitable for you. You feel it because you feel interested, like, proud, and confident that you can do it well compared to any other profession or job. So, you only feel confident and right about the decision to becoming a counselor. Do you feel in the future you can be a success counselor? And you sure that the constant question is the person which is most suitable for you? I will speak in English. Apakah Anda merasa bahwa profesi konselor dan profesi yang paling dibandingkan profesi lain yang ada di masyarakat. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate. You feel interested, light, proud, and confident that you can do it well. Anda yakin dapat melakukannya dengan baik. Compared to if you do another profession, dibandingkan jika Anda melakukan pekerjaan yang okay. My name is Counselor. Thank you for the time. I back to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I would like to give a summary for Ms. Economico's presentations for the last 14 minutes. Guidance and counseling in Indonesia took an important role in educational systems as a school counselor. But from that, guidance and counseling has developed to a better system and a better role in Indonesia. But unfortunately, even by the time since 1985, guidance and counseling has developed in Indo, but there is still a lot of issues that have been mentioned before, such as unqualified teachers, malpractice, lazy counselor, and study school tree. But I highlight the most from Mr. Economico's presentation is in order to become the best and successful counselor, you have to take risks and use every opportunity and every event that you can develop and increase your techniques and practice in guidance and counseling. Thank you. It's okay. Once again, for the audience who already has questions for two speakers that already presented their material, please keep the questions because the questions and answer sessions will be conducted right after the third speakers of these sessions. Thank you so much, Mr. Eko. So I will proceed to another presentation. Our last speaker right now in today's seminar is Mrs. Jane from South Korea. Good evening, Mrs. Jane.
Hi, good evening. Good morning.
Good morning. Almost
Yeah.
good morning with good spirit. Yes. So before you start your presentation, I would like to read about your curriculum vitae that you already sent me yesterday. Mrs. Jane is an experienced global business consultant, instructor, and facilitator with over 20 years of expertise in communications and commercial business. Her outstanding achievements also include winning first place in the Korean National Speech Contest of Golden Mic Season 7 in 2018, and she currently working as an instructor, trainer, lecturer, and regional consultant for customer experience survey of global network system provider in matrimony since 2017 until now. Since we already connected with Mrs. Jane, how are you today in South Korea, in Seoul?
It's great. The weather is a bit rainy here, but I feel really shiny at the moment because, yeah, I got this honor to be the part of this international seminar.
I heard that the weather on there is a little bit warmer than before because we're about to move to spring.
Yes, right.
Okay, Mrs. James, I would like to remind you again that the duration of presentation is 30 until 45 minutes, and we will proceed to the question and answer sessions right after your presentation.
Okay, thank you for giving me a chance be with you together. So it is a really great time for me, and I hope that the same feeling with you. So let me share my presentation file that I prepared. Okay, sorry, let me reshare it. Okay, so I try to match some color with the posters that some of the image of Korea on the right side. This is the view from Seoul city. I'm not living in Seoul though, but I'm living a little bit remote area from Seoul, around 1 hour from the main center. So I'm not afford to living in Seoul, but still okay. But still I can see and view of these things at night. So I really hope that someday you can come to Korea to enjoy the view and the tour on here. And winter time, we have a lot of snow. If you don't have a snow over there, it's time for you to experience snow in Korea. Okay, this is the very traditional view. Last 2 months, I had an opportunity to be in this traditional house. It's a seminar place actually. This was a traditional house, but they changed and converted it to a seminar place and open to the public. So we can rent the place, and then we conducted some of the workshop there. So a really good place and really beautiful place. So I took a pictures to show you, and this is a little shot of the image. Okay, before we start, let's get a bit more exciting. So here we have you know who are they, you know? I think so. Everybody know who are they? Yes, they are the BTS. The one of the member of the BTS, I love Jungkook. He sang a song in the FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2020. So in Qatar World Cup, Korean, the BTS member Jungkook sang a song. So I want to play this song together to enjoy the song, and I really love this song Dreamer. The title is Dreamer. So if you listen to this song, yeah, it is one of the topics, the entrepreneurship, you can get it from there. So let's listen it together. enjoyed it. I love that. I saw the audience that a little bit of a dancing, but I really hope that everybody can dance together someday.
Miss Park, I'm sorry to interject. Although I had COVID, I was dancing away too. You really know how to catch the attention of the audience. Very good. Good job.
Really, really great. So I love that the people is enjoying the times. I really hope that this is some break, but this has a very great message in it. The song title is A Dreamer. So we are the dreamer. It says that in this song, the Jungkook said, we are the dreamers, we make it happen because we believe it. That's what he said. So I want to emphasize and highlight some points on here. We are the dreamers. Say, everybody dream it and we make it happen. How we can make it? That's what is entrepreneurship. So let's start with the dreamer. So if we sleep, yeah, we can make a dream and we can dream something and we have some dream in our mind that we want to be something and we want to target to be somebody and good counselor or good teachers, and everybody has some dream in their mind and there's a setting, some destination they want to go. So in this situation, if we dream it, anything happen? Actually not. Nothing happened, just a dreaming. But if you believe it, like Jungkook BTS in that song, if you believe it, you can make it happen. But if you believe something after you dream it, actually what I know is still nothing happened. But how we can make it happen? Actually, something you have to do that. Once you do it, then you can make it happen. Without taking an action, just a dream and believe, still nothing happen. So to make it happen, you take actions and you need to be a doer. So I want to talk something about this, how we can be a doer. Okay, let's get back to the BTS again that we love. Yes, BTS, they are the company under the Hive now, Hive Corporations. But previously, this company was a Big Hit Entertainment. When this Big Hit started off from the beginning, it was a very small entertainment company. You know, this is Mr. Bang, Chi-Hyuk Bang. He is the guy who founded this Big Hit Entertainment. He was working under this JYP Entertainment. JYP Entertainment, Jin Young Park. He was just a producer there. But after working there, he founded this Big Hit. But he started a small company, and then they didn't have any famous or popular singer yet. So not many media is happy to expose them. So they didn't have many chance to be on the media. So they struggle to get a chance to be on the media or some channels or on the public. So how they do? Because they were so small compared to other three major entertainment companies like YG, SM, and JYP. They are the three major entertainment companies in Korea, and they are so big compared to the just founded this Hive Big Hit company. So how to do that? We cannot compete with this big company in this situation. What they do is try to do it differently. So even I cannot be on TV, or I cannot be on the newspaper, or I cannot be on the big news, still I can communicate with someone and with my fan and with people. So they try to be on the social media more as their strategy because they cannot get the chance. So many different types of the social media and channels they make use to connect with the people and their fans, and they expose of themselves, their life and their real one, and they try not to pretend as a good one, just to be themselves and show themselves to the public, so that get more and more attention from the fan and people in Korea and overseas. Now they become so much popular. And one of the way that this Mr. Bang is showing the respects to the BTS member is that they're supporting them to be themselves. Most of the case in Korea, actually this is a kind of the notorious in Korea, that people think, oh, because of your training, your idol groups or the members, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, like making a practice, dancing and everything. So that become like this, like products. This what is something badly. We got some reputation about this one, but other agency may have done that way to train the idol. But in Korea, especially this big hit, he didn't do that. He respect and support the BTS to be themselves. Everyone has their own thinking and different idea, and they have their own creativity. Just to respect and then let them try to show as a good creators. So that's why all the BTS members have become such a great producer, as well as a creators, and as well as a dancer and singer. But they just be themselves. Let them be themselves is one of the great way this Mr. Bang shows a great leaderships. This is one of the very short video that what one of the BTS members say about themselves.
우리 팀만의 다른 점은 일단은 그 팀에 대한 그런 중요성을 확실히 인지를 하고, 그러니까 이게 활동에도 영향을 주고. We are BTS.
As a Korean, we love our country and we're proud of our country so much. And you know, it's even just an honor to be just called like as an ambassador of Korean K-pop.
No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, just speak yourself.
뭐랄까, 저희 아버지 세대, 어머니 세대는 이제 한국 전쟁 직후에 이제 많은 분들이 태어나셨는데, 그러다 보니까 이제 굉장히 어렸을 때 이제 먹지도 못하고 이제 입지도 못하고 그렇게 자라다가, 근데 지금 세대 저희 이제 아버지 아들인 저희들이 한국을 대표해서 한국을 알리고 있고, 또 이렇게 한국의 많은 문화들을 알리고 있는 걸 보면서 요즘은 이제 젊은 세대, 저희 세대보다는 저희 아버지 세대나 할머니, 할아버지 세대가 굉장히 자랑스러워하세요. 뉴스를 보시면서도 굉장히 즐거워하시고. 그래서 저는 아버지가 그런 거에 대해서 굉장히 자랑스러워하시는 게 되게 즐겁더라고요.
Here they say that their parent generation, that means our parents' generation, they were just after the Korean War, we were really poor. We were poorer than the Tahiti or many African country. Then they starved. And my parents also talking a lot about her experience that when she was a child and when she was small, she had she felt some hunger. So she hungry because of not enough food at home, and many siblings and brother and sister. So always not enough food in their home. So that's what I heard from my parents, but I never had such experience. Because we have plenty of food in here, and then the economy is getting better. But all these things is done by our parents, diligent parents, and sacrifice of our parent generations, overcome about those difficulties. So this is one of the way how the Korean are showing their entrepreneurships in surviving and then making a progress, like a BTS and like a big hit company. So, like this, let's look at this. So this is something like you can say that BTS as a small at the beginning, the Hive company at the beginning, but there are major big player and giant around them. Then in this situation, how we can compete with them as a small individual or as a small company? There are two ways we can win these competitions. The first one is doing better. If you are doing better than them, you can win them. And another one is doing different. So, are you going to be better than the competitors? Or are you going to be different from your competitor? So two options only if we want to win in the market or win in the compared to your competitor. So in these situations, this Mr. Bang from Big Hit, he chose to be doing differently because he was so small. If you are very similar with others and just neck and neck, if you can do better than a bit of better, then you can win the competition. But they were so small compared to other big players. So that's why they try to be different from others. So you cannot compete that much up to this much. It takes a long time, and we don't know in our lifetime we can win this competitions or we can be better than the other. We still don't know, and it's a long journey, and a lot of effort is required. But if you are doing differently, actually there is a different market and different situations, then you can win and you can get opportunity. That's what this big hit have done with BTS. I want to tell one more thing as an example. You know this noodle? You have ever tried? I want to see your hands. Raise your hands. You ever tried this one? You tried? You love it? It is too spicy. I think it is really, really spicy. Without milk, I cannot have it. I know that the Indonesian friends, my friends are having a lot of spicy, and then they love spicy also. You love spicy, but this is too spicy to me, so I cannot take it without water or milk. But this is very popular, I know, in Indonesia. This is made by Samyang, company called Samyang. Yeah, but in Korea, actually, we didn't like this kind of noodle before. So mostly we like all these types of the noodle with the soup, hot soup and spicy taste. We love soup with a spicy one. So these are the most popular noodle, instant noodle in Korea. So Shinramen, I don't know you know about this one also. Shinramen, this is Shin noodle, was the #1 in Korean market for 30 years, for a really long time. And the second one, the #2 is a Jinramen. This is also spicy, and then the soup noodle with the soup. This is all Korean love, soup with a spicy taste. Then in the market, Samyang always become third. So they didn't get the market well, and they didn't have a good market share. But actually, this is Samyang company who made this fire noodle, was the pioneer who bring this instant noodle into Korean market. They are the first company, but they lose the market with the other noodle makers always for 30 years. Then one day, the CEO of Samyang went outside for dinner with her daughter, and she saw that there are a lot of people waiting in line to be in that restaurant. So what restaurant is that? That was a very spicy chicken restaurant, stirred fried chicken restaurant. So she found that why people love this kind of food. And she studies, and she traveled all the Korea to try the spicy chickens. Yeah. So, you know, on the right side, you can see the spicy chicken feet. We are eating this chicken feet also, frankly speaking. We love that. And she traveled all the place and taste and see how people like it and how people feel about that one. And then she developed this spicy chicken noodle for 1 year. She tested 1,200 chickens and then tested the spicy sauce more than 2,000 kilograms to find the best one for this spicy noodle. Then finally, she developed this fire noodle that is now very popular. But at the beginning, when they launched this fire noodle in 2012, actually the Korean people say that, wow, this is not edible noodle and we don't like it. It is too spicy and we cannot take it. People blamed a lot. So this is Samyang company. They thought about, oh, maybe we need to stop producing about this one. Maybe people don't like it. They just try to differentiate it from the other because of other Shinramen or Jinramens are all famous, and then these noodles are always #1 and #2, and try to be differentiate with this no soup, like a stirred noodle types, and try to compete it. But in Korea, we are not used to this kind of it. But later on, what this Samyang found is that in the world, there are big competition about this one. Every foreign people, they try to this one and they endure those spiciness. And then this challenges continue. And this noodle becomes so popular in the world rather than in Korea. So this is Hamnyang become really successful. So this noodle is more popular in outside of the Korea than in Korea. So later, oh, this is so popular, then we can try it. So we become also used to the taste of this one. After we know that Korean noodle becomes so popular in outside. And also, people say that those are people who tried, who participate in these challenges, and they say, oh, if you try this noodle with milk, it's less spicy, then you can enjoy it. If you eat with the cheese, it tastes better. So every people is sharing their own tips on how to eat it better or can endure and can complete these challenges and successful. They share it. Then with that kind of tips, Samyang made all different types of the taste together after getting those idea from the people on YouTube. That's why it become more popular now. So, like in a country, in Korea, people love a soup-based noodle, but those stir-fried noodles still not popular. In these situations, if they want to compete, they just tried something different. At the beginning, they thought that it was a failure, but they get to learn that how to be more successful from the customer and from the people, from the who have experience of their noodle. So this is the Samyang is also have done win the competition with the differences, not the trying to be better in the soup noodle. So they use also their own differences to make it differences. So now I want to go back to the definition of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, what is this? It sounds a very difficult words, but let's try to look at it. Entrepreneurship is the process of creating or starting a new business venture in order to make a profit. So that means something good for you and good for your company. And it involves identifying a niche in the market and developing a product service. So that means if you are a counselor or if you are a teacher, you have to develop your own way that can be good for your customers or your somebody who is counseling to you. Then that is their needs, right? So entrepreneurship is about taking a risk and face a challenge in order to achieve this success. So let's make this entrepreneurship mindset into the personal level in me and in yourself. So it is there is a new question and new issue or new problem of new challenges everywhere. So when we have these new challenges, like we believe it, we can solve it, and then we take actions. Take actions and test yourself. You are good at it or not, and then see you are meeting their needs or not. And you are learning from them based on your experience, and then take the risk and face challenges and achieve your success. That is a personal level of entrepreneurship mindset. So why don't you try to do it differently? Because we cannot compete with those big players. So if you can overcome of that one, you can be better and you can win the market, but sometimes it is very hard if you are not as big as them, as talented as them. But we still have some differences from them that we can make use. So here what the Mike Tyson, the boxer, said, everyone has planned until they got punched in the face. What this means. So if you have your plan, oh, I can do this one good and I can do this one good. You have a plan and you have a thinking in your mind. That means you are the dreamers and you are believers. So something in your mind, I can do it way. Do it this way and that way, that will be good. Some kind of the scenario and simulations may be in your mind. But in actual situation, in actual counseling, there are many unexpected, unintended things occurs. So that's what we call get punched in the real situation. But after get punched, we can get better and better. So take the risk and face the challenges, and then you get punched, and then you know which parts of yourself need to be improved. You know who he is? Yeah, I heard that he's a very popular in Indonesia, one of the popular and the most popular one. Champion there, he also said something similar. Getting close to the succeed, champion also get beaten. So even champions and they are the number one, still they got beaten in the real market, in real situation, in reality. So I want to talk about myself a bit in here. I was a business developer in Singaporean company before. So in Korea, I got a job in a Singaporean company, and I started working in the Malaysian branch office as a business developer. They are selling machines, and I got hired, and I moved to Malaysia, worked there, and I have a very high expectations. Oh, I work in Malaysia. Then after 6 months of working there, the economic situation became very bad. So all the area like Malaysia and Singapore, and they have a Thailand branch office also. And Thailand, all this region has a very bad recession in the economy. Why? Because of all the companies are moving to China. So China was booming. So other region has a very less opportunity. We were selling the machines, factory machines. So I had a very difficult times after 6 months. So I have a 2 option only at that time. Maybe I was waiting there, and then just until I got laid off or got fired, I stayed there, or I voluntarily say I don't want to work because I don't have nothing to do here. So resignations or laid off, I have 2 options, but I didn't choose among them any of these options. Even I supposed to work as a business developer in Malaysia. I proposed to move to China. So I work in China branch. I want to work in China branch. I say that to my boss. Then my boss said that if you want to work in China, you have to speak Chinese. But actually, I couldn't speak any single Chinese that time. And I had a big problem that time because I have no engineering background, but business developers are very, frontline to introduce your company, and then you are proposing any inquiry or these things are very front one, so you do not need to be that much technical. But if you want to work as a sales, actually you need to more in depth of technical things. But I didn't have any engineering background, and then I have no experience of sales, and even I cannot speak any Chinese. Then I say that I want to be a salesperson in China, please send me to China branch, rather than just resign or firing. So when I proposed this, my boss feel like so surprised. In this condition, you go there and you can survive? Yeah, but he gave me an opportunity to be there. So I went to China as a salesperson. I moved there. Then what happened? In China, there are a lot of other salespeople there. So I was the only Korean who working as a sales and who couldn't speak any Chinese languages. So other sales teams and salespeople all there who speak Chinese because of their Chinese local people or the Chinese Malaysians or Chinese Singaporean. So they could all speak a good Chinese. I am the only one who couldn't speak any Chinese and couldn't explain any engineering things. But you know what happened? After 2 years I working in China, I got a 50% of a sales result of total sales. That means among the 100% of a sales revenue, 50% from me and the 50% from the rest of the people. So I became a number 1 salesperson in China, even I couldn't speak any Chinese. How could I do this? Because there was a big opportunity there. So in China, there are a lot of Korean company, they try to move to China and set up their factory that time. I didn't know that. Just I wanted to take other opportunity, but I didn't read the market well, and I didn't have that much information about what is the trend or whatever. Just I don't want to get fired or I don't want to resign the company. So I just take the risk of going China without having anything that time. So when I go there, but there was a big opportunity. So many Korean company is looking for machines and the factory automation equipment, and I was there, and many of the people are not ready to enter into the Korean customer and introduce themselves. But I was the only one because I have nothing to do and I don't speak Chinese and I cannot visit Chinese customer. So I just visit all the Korean customers and some Japanese customer and introduce our companies and then propose of our machines. Then because of they have somebody who can communicate in their own languages, they are very willing to meet me. So I had a lot of chance to meet customers and then get an order from them. So how I could be a #1 in sales that time? Because I was there. The first one is I was there. I just took a risk. When there is a challenges that it seems like nothing happened or nothing capability left to me, but I just go there and I was there in China without having anything. I just be there. So that is one of the biggest reasons that I could be #1 in sales. And another reason that I could be is that the doer. I didn't just dreaming, I didn't just believe it in myself, I just took a risk to be there and I decided to go there and propose to my boss. Even my boss just laughed at me, oh, you are going there without speaking any Chinese, or you are not engineer, or you have never done sales, but if you want to go, okay, you can try. He just take the risk and then he let me go there. But I was the #1 at the end because I took actions that time. Even I know there are so big suspicious behind and then nobody have a confidence about me. And another important point is that I didn't ignore my own strength. Actually, I couldn't speak any Chinese languages, so they can be a really weak point. And I couldn't know anything about the engineering thing. They can be a big weak point. But still I have other strengths, like I can speak Korean, I can speak English, and I can speak some of the Japanese. I have other strengths in me, but if we are so much overwhelmed by our small weak points, we think we don't have anything in me. But actually we shouldn't think that way. Still, we have a lot of different strengths that can be differentiated from others, like a BTS, like a Big Hit, and like spicy noodles, and Samyang Company. They have other strengths. But if you try to compete with those only people know languages and the engineering skill, then you cannot compete with them. But I have other ability that I can still take advantage and make use of it. So I didn't ignore my rest of the strengths. Okay, so babies, you remember when you were born? Yeah, I don't think you remember that. But we know that when we were born, we couldn't do anything. We just cry and then poop and pee and waiting mom to take care of me and feed me. So we couldn't do anything that time. But we tried to crawl and we try to walk. But 100 and 1,000 times try to walk, still we fall down and cry and make us suffer something scar and unhappy or feel pain on my knees and something like this. This thing happened, but we have tried and tried again to walk outside. Without those trials, 100 times and 1,000 times of each of us, maybe we cannot walk at the moment. Like the same, we face the challenges every time, and if we cannot do it properly at the time, at the moment, even we keep trying, then we cannot be succeed. So after thousands of times falling down and then get pain on my knees, finally we could walk. So that's why we are here, and then we enjoy the world. So like the same, if you have something lacking point and you haven't tried it yet, maybe at the beginning, it makes you a lot of bruises and scars, or you get punched outside, like a Christian said, that's happening. But I think those of failure is just a part of the success, not an opposite of your success. So please don't be overwhelmed of any of your lacking points. That's something only a small portion of yourself. you have a lot of different strengths in you, still in yourself. So please remember that something with your own strengths that on your side, try to be differentiate, like a Big Hit and BTS, and then spicy noodle, then you can be on the market and you can be on the society as a strong, with a strong entrepreneurships. Fail faster, that means that they try hard and they try as fast as possible, even you are not ready yet, just to try and see how the people react and how people say about it. And then you can improve it. And then you try again, you may fail again, but next time you fail better. And then you are getting closer to succeed. This is how the entrepreneurship mindset is going on in yourself, in ourselves. Okay, that's it for today. So yeah, this is my Facebook and SNS. If you want to know more about the entrepreneurships or global citizenship, please contact me anytime and I can answer to you. And I'm also organizing a lot of different events that you can participate in, and I want to interact with you constantly and talk about this citizenship, global citizenship, and also entrepreneurship. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Talking about entrepreneurship as one of the ways to be successful in this economy, I'm having something really interesting about the presentation that you have been presented before, that is being brave and taking risks and facing challenges yourself is really important to fail better and become successful persons for the future. And I think in the field of counselor is really have to have the resilience way to fail and maybe to failure and how to manage the emotions and sadness. And I think even though that we're in here become counselor with counseling degree, entrepreneurship is one of the ways to become successful persons for the future. Because our future isn't always being a teacher or an academic in Indonesia as a counselor too, but entrepreneurships always be one of the choices, and having counselor degree with entrepreneurship is really much potential that we have. So I would like to invite Dr. Aziz to Zoom meeting again. So we proceed our activity to the Q&A sessions. So for the audience, we already have questions for 3 of the speakers of today's sessions. Please raise your hand first, and one of the committee will transfer the microphone so you can introduce yourself and just tell whom your questions is directed to, and just say the questions. Okay, please raise your hand if you have the questions for all the 3 presented. Over there, 1 person. Yes, I'll give 3 chances for the audience to ask me questions for the presentation. Over there, really fail. Please stand up so we can see your face. Please introduce yourself and say to whom your question
plus. And I found that I realized that one of the people who needed promotion had from us, like future counselor and counselor, is people with sexual orientations, problem or issues. And here's my question: how does that relate to doing that, especially in the world of education? And whether we just find out their sexual orientation or we help them in self-acceptance or we educate people around them. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying the talk by both the speakers. And just to inform Jane, Jane, you've actually made me fall in love with ramen. You know, I'm having COVID-19, so I called my daughter. So she prepared me this noodle, the spicy noodle. Okay, anyway, to answer your question, thank you so much. One of the issues or social ills that we are actually experiencing in Malaysia is LGBTQ+. I'm sure you understand what Q+ is. It's actually queer, and we have more than that, yeah? First thing first, you need to understand what does it mean by LGBTQ. You know, and now the issue is LGBT. Gay, then we talked about transgender, we also talked about the confusion of gender, okay? But the thing that you first highlighted was probably the cross-dressing or the transgender. Those are slightly different from gay and lesbian, so you need to understand which population that you're looking at, okay? But when you wanted to educate first, we have to educate not the people around us, but educate us as a counselor first. When you go in to educate others, you first have to clear of the perceptions. Okay, we now know that we are all Muslims here. Most of us are Muslims that I can see, yeah? Malay Muslims, maybe not Malay, but Muslims generally. So when you talk about in Malaysia, the first thing that we need to learn is not to impose our values. Remember, I told you the 3 things that should be done or accepted amongst counselors generally is empathy, genuine, and also unconditional positive regard. In this regard, we cannot impose our values. We cannot impose, say, I'm a Muslim. I can't say, hey, in our religion, this is wrong. You are Muslim, you cannot do this. That's the first thing that we don't want to do to these people, because what we want to do is to accept them as they are. You get what I'm saying? So what we need to educate the people out there is to inform them, okay, that, you know, these are issues that are being faced by people. So the stigma is something that we want to not have on this kind of people. What we need to do is, I do understand that when you talked about values, I have my values too, you have your values. In our religion, it's a big no-no, okay? But how come I'm a counselor, I can still deal with these people? It's because I help them genuinely, okay? That is the part where genuine comes in. And unconditional positive regard. I don't just deal with people who are Muslims to help them, no. But as a counselor, this is the global acceptance. Like when I said that when you go in, you want to help. You want to help them to get, apa dia, the first thing, katasis. What is katasis? Kelegaan emosi, betul tak? Kelegaan emosi. What is that? To feel good about themselves. To know that, hey, they achieved something. So that's what we want to do. So in order for us to help them, is to have these 3 conditions, you know, characteristics of a counselor, to also educate yourself first before you could educate others. So when you go in without having this preconception, you are more willing to accept people as they are, and you are willing to listen. Okay, some people, you know, when they have this kind of issues, there are a lot of contributing factors to it. Okay, so let's not judge, let's not be stigmatized by this. And like I said, your values, let's just put it aside. Okay, when you are there, you want to help them at that point of time. So like, for example, with people who doesn't have counseling background, we ask them to at least learn about PFA, psychological first aid, to help people to look, to listen, to link them to the right organizations or people so that we could help. That's the first thing that we should have in, as counselors, not to judge, to eliminate stigmatization. I do hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answers. Okay, let's go to the second questions. Please raise your hands. It's okay to answer in Indonesia. I'll translate it to English. Gak apa-apa. Tanya pakai bahasa Indonesia, gak apa-apa. Nanti saya translate ke bahasa Inggris. Silakan. Silakan kata-katanya supaya nanti saya bisa menuliskan pertanyaan. Mungkin dari para dosen juga bisa bertanya juga. Kita dari Pak. Semoga Pak Fatih mungkin ada ditanyakan. Dua pertanyaan lagi untuk dua speakers. Tidak apa-apa pakai bahasa Indonesia, nanti saya translatekan ke bahasa Inggris. Gak usah langsung bahasa Inggris, gak apa-apa. Kalau misalnya
There's also online a person named Rizka. She wants to ask something. Rizka, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. May I? Boleh Mbak? Apakah diizinkan? Oke, baik. Okay, thank you Miss Aziz for your attention. Okay, actually I would like to ask a question to Miss Jane. Okay, my name is Rizka Bilianti. I'm a student of UNESA a postgraduate school. But I also as a school counselor at State Public Vocational High School 5 in Surabaya. Miss Jane, I was interested with your experience facing, you said that you were facing your lacking point, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I would like to know, besides the desire to achieve dreams, what values in life that made you brave to seek challenge of moving to China? And are there value in your family that influence your decision?
Thank you for asking your questions. Yeah, actually, at the beginning, we don't know the value of facing these challenges and take the risk. We don't know anything about that one. But thinking too much, this is value or not, and this kind of things, actually just thinking about that one, mostly easy to find very good excuse not to do it. So if you think too much, or if you are very good planners, mostly, if I want to plan this and plan that, so many reasons that you should not try. So if you think too much, I guess it is very hard for you to try. So thinkers always become a thinker, but actors become a successor in the future. So if you think too much, actually it is very hard. So what value in it? We don't know. If we don't try, we don't know what value in it. There are some value we already know, but there are enough reasons that I'm not enough good to get this value. But if we try, maybe we face some failure in it. But in this failure, there are some other value than unexpected value that I can get it from it. So these are something that I get from China. Actually, at the beginning, from Malaysia, I supposed to work in Malaysia in that kind of environments that I can communicate and in a good weather, in a good house. house and swimming pool in somewhere outside, and I can go easily. This thing what I expected. But after 6 months, when I faced all different situations, and I don't want to just spend the money there as an employee there, I want to be valuable person to the company also. So what I decided is resignations for the benefit of a company, or something I decided something differently. So what I thought is that I can take the risk because I don't know anything what will happen, and then I have never done work in China. Just like go and try and see what happens. If I face another failure there, that's okay because of just going back to Korea after 6 months of working. It is also a failure for me, but I can try one more time. So I decided to go there, and everybody said, "What? You are going China? You cannot speak any single Chinese." So in this situation, I just decided to go there, and I really get to know that once you try, there are a lot of opportunity. But if you are not there, if you are not trying there, you don't know that opportunity. Those opportunities are invisible, and you cannot put that into your plan. So if you are just thinking and planning, those opportunity and value can never be in that plan. So once you are there, then you get to know, and there is a big opportunity, then you can be successful there. But still, you may not be successful, but some of the value there will be a good foundations that you can be a better and better in the future when you try something else. And then you are more stepping up to the ladders of the success. So what I think is when you have something in mind, I want to try this one and try that one, don't think too much. If you think too much, a lot of excuse coming up, oh, not to do, I cannot do that. So if you think too much, those are coming up to your mind. So don't think too much and try first and then think less and then become a successor.
Thank you. So the key is action. Take an action, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Jane.
Thank you, Mrs. Rizka, for the questions to Mrs. James. Let's move on to the third question from this session. So I would like to raise your hand for the audience. Yes. Please talk louder.
May I ask to Mr. CJ, talking about business and development, as I know the word of idol is part of the business idol is currency, expectancy. Behind the rise of in the idol business, there are also several aspects of development that affect money. Then what is the role of counsel on consultant? Korea is complement of the
Thank you for asking a question. The counselor is, as a counselor, actually those business or those role become more and more important in every industry and every aspect. Because Korea had a very fast economic growing country. So due to this reason, we were not focusing on ourselves. We were just working. Most of the people are workaholic, and we are the second longest hour in working. We spend the time, and then we are the longest time in education. So Korea is a very education focused and then working focused. Because we have seen my parent generation, they starved when they were young and they were child. Then we don't want to be there again in this situation. And then my parent generation, they sacrifice themselves a lot and work so diligently every day, overtime and working long time. for their children, their child generation to be better. So we are having that generations, and we are in that time, and we enjoy those parents' sacrifice. So due to this reason, our parent generations never care about themselves and their minds. And mentally illness is a lot actually. So they are sacrificing a lot. Even my mom is taking care of my children sometimes while I'm working. So these things still happen. And my generations also not much different, because we saw that my parent generations are always sacrifice themselves, and we may not be that much of a sacrifice, but still in our mind we have a guilty mind. If we are just to do something for me, I feel guilty because of my parents never done that way. So I have to do something for the children or for the family, or this thing is something very basic thinking and mindset in us in Korea, in our generation. Of course, my next generation, like my children's, are totally different, but still they have they have seen us and how they grow and then how they are sacrificed. So these things are inherited to the children, but it's weaker and weaker. So people now try to take care a lot of themselves because we realize that after of this diligent work, overtime work, too much education, too much studying times, stuck in the office and stuck in the desk like this table, it makes us feel ill mentally. So we need somebody to help us. That's the counselor, I think. So this is the really important role, and now we recognize how important it is. Like idol groups and then those BTS, of course I think behind there are somebody who always helping them mentally. So giving them some guidance or asking them questions, and because of at the beginning when they were not popular or when we were not succeeded or we didn't achieve anything, our mind always unstable and always having a mind to give up. Yeah. So in this situation, somebody talk and somebody helping me, that is a counselor, is counseling well, and still I can maintain my own self-esteem. So this self-esteem become a backbone of myself to maintain without giving up. So in these situations, like a fast growing of the economy or the very competitive society, and you always have to see somebody else try to take over of your positions or these things, in this society, in this world, we need somebody good counseling. So you are the person who can help us like in this situation. So I think the role of that one in this society is more and more important, and you are the person who giving self-confidence and listen what they're feel, what they have difficulties. Even you cannot just helping them to overcome of those, but listening them is making them feel more confidence about themselves. So that's the basic role and the really important role, not in Indonesia, in Korea also. Thank you for asking.
So the next question, please raise your hand. Yes, over there.
Dia counseling teknik Dan di sini hanya bertugas tambahan signifikansinya is to visit the counselor dalam sekolah untuk memfasilitasi tercapainya tujuan pembentukan karakter dan profil pelajar Pancasila seperti yang 7 profil yang sudah disebutkan tadi. Ini bukan menjadi tugas utama, tapi tugas lain di samping tugas membantu setiap siswa untuk membesarkan setiap permasalahan yang dihadapi siswa baik dalam bidang pribadi, sosial, akademik dan karya. Jadi signifikansinya membantu pemerintah dalam artian membantu guru-guru lebih tercapainya pengembangan karakter pelajaran Pancasila. Jadi ini karena sifatnya preventif, tentu lebih banyak diberikan layanan bimbingan baik ke sekolah maupun guru. Karena sesuai dengan komponen dalam pendekatan itu konseling masuk ke layanan responsif dari hal yang diberikan yang bersifat klinikal dan moral. Oke, dan saya kasih
Baik, terima kasih untuk Mbak Lydia atas pertanyaannya. Baiklah demikian untuk sesi bertanya jawab pada sesi kali ini. That's all for the questions and answer sessions for today's presentations, today's webinar. I would like to say thank you very much for the three speakers. This is Dr. Asmawati from University of Malaya, Mrs. James from South Korea, and last but not least, I hope that this conference will improve and develop our counselor soul and become a successful person in the future, not only in the counselor as a school teachers or academic, but in the entrepreneurships and businessmen or businesswomen in the future. Thank you very much. Personally, my name is Maya Pramasti. As a moderator, I would like to say my deepest apologies if I have made mistakes in speaking Bahasa or speaking in English to three of the speakers, and I would like to say sorry to the audience for the lack of attendance that happened to these webinars. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much.
Terima kasih.
Wow, it's been such a great seminar. Thank you very much for all speakers and our great moderator for this wonderful seminar. Please give warm applause again for all of us. Please, for all speakers, let's do some combinations together. I will count on 3, 1 and 3, and then we can do some combinations together. Please, for all lecturers who are standing here, we can do some combinations together. Yes. Dear lecturers, please go ahead. The count 3, 2, 1, start. Three, two, one.
Thank you. Enjoy your makan.